Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. On a previous video, which I will link right up there, there was a comment doubting whether Joe Biden could reach 350 electoral votes. That got me wondering whether either candidate has a numeric shot at a landslide in November. And that got me wondering, what the hell constitutes a landslide nowadays anyway? So I did some research and discovered something. As with seemingly all things these days, no one agrees. So time for more research. To figure this out, the first thing I needed to do was settle on the definition of a landslide. One of the more recent obvious landslides, Ronald Reagan's re-election in 1984, is out of the question because Reagan didn't so much as get a landslide as give Walter Mondale an electoral beatdown. So I went skipping through the internet, and here are the 6 answers that I found. Yeah, not a lot of consistency there. They can't even agree on whether a landslide takes the Electoral College or the popular vote. My personal favorite is the oddly specific 75.33% of electoral votes, which equals this. I get why some would want to use a percentage. A percentage is much more adaptable than a specific number. Even though it hasn't happened since 1964, the Constitution does allow for changes in electoral votes based on census results and the addition of new states, which means that total isn't changing until if or when Puerto Rico is granted statehood. That also means 270towin.com and 538.com would be in a world of branding hurt if that ever happens. But possible candidates for statehood aside and their effects on future U.S. elections is an entirely different video. Hint, hint. The slightest thing resembling a consensus seemed to be 370 electoral votes, which in percentages comes to this. Yeah, can't win for losing. Well, unless you're John Quincy Adams, Rutherford B. Hayes, Grover Cleveland, George W. Bush, or Donald Trump. Now, it should be noted, this would categorize Bill Clinton's 2 victories in 1992 and 1996 as landslides, but with a huge asterisk next to them, since he didn't win a majority of the popular vote either time, since they were 3-way races thanks to Ross Perot. Now that we have our goal, let's start by taking a look at the states that no amount of landslide is going to change. As you can see, this gives Biden a pretty nice starting advantage, even though there's a whole lot of red there. That's because the Republican base lives primarily in smaller, more rural states. That's why even when they lose, they often win more states. Now, for nearly a quarter century, Democratic candidates have had California, Illinois, and New York in a lockbox and threw away the key. Starting off with 3 of the 5 most populous states in the Union in your back pocket is a really nice place to be. It also limits President Trump's options for a landslide since your opponent can't get more than 168 electoral votes in that scenario. To clarify, I have reasons for leaving the gray states that are gray, gray. It ranges from being currently competitive this election, having voted for the other party at least once in the last 7, or previous results having been so close that the change of even just a couple of percentage points nationally could have made them flip. Oregon is probably the best example, because George W. Bush narrowly lost the state both times, and Hillary Clinton barely received a majority of the vote with 50.1% in 2016. Speaking of Clinton in 2016, we'll start with Biden. First, I've added all the states Clinton won in 2016, because for either to win in a landslide, they have to hold all the states from 4 years ago, plus take some states from the other guy. Once you add those, it's not that big of a jump to 370. Just add Arizona, Iowa, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Ohio, North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. All states with polls showing Joe Biden either within striking distance of or with a lead. He doesn't even need to flip Texas for this to happen. As I said in the same video, I would rather be in Biden's position right now than in Trump's, and I don't think that very many people would disagree with me on that. Now, the president's path is a wee bit harder and requires a state you wouldn't expect to flip, but there is precedence for it, so bear with me. First, he has to start by winning all the states he won last time, just like Biden did with Clinton states. Then he would have to win all the swing states this time around, and there are a lot of them. But as you can see, as I click these, he's still short. Unless you include New Jersey. Yes, New Jersey has voted Democratic in every presidential election since 1988. But keep something in mind. New Jersey had a very solid Republican voting record for years. George W. Bush only lost by 6 points in 2004. And voters have elected Republicans statewide since then. Now, I realize in this highly polarized political climate, the odds of either candidate pulling off a landslide is slim. But no one expected Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania to swing Republican in 2016 either. Surprising things happen in elections. That's what I love about them. There are always unexpected finishes every election cycle, and sometimes that surprise comes at the top of the ballot.